Trump is just about 48 hours away from what he calls one of the most consequential moments of his presidency. But tonight, sources say there's growing angst inside the White House over his rally on the National Mall on Saturday to celebrate America's 250th birthday. Thanks to triple-digit temperatures, though, super strict security measures, we're told the White House officials are bracing for a potentially underwhelming showing. Just as we've seen at the Great American State Fair since it kicked off in a very warm Washington this week. I actually went down to the National Mall to see the fair for myself as the behind-the-scenes drama to plan it is spilling out now in public. This is what the president has deemed the Great American State Fair. But for a president who often fixates on crowd size, so far the fair on Washington's National Mall hasn't exactly lived up to the hype. I'm standing here on the National Mall, which is the site of President Trump's Great American State Fair. And as this is in place ahead of America's 250th anniversary that is coming up on July 4th, maybe nowhere better exemplifies how politics have been injected into so many of the events celebrating America's 250th. For America's 200th celebration, thousands of Americans flocked to the National Mall to celebrate in 1976. Planning for the 250th got underway nearly a decade ago, but perhaps no level of preparation could have predicted a president who would take the celebration into his own hands.
When you had a rigged election, I was really angry about it. Then I realized if I win the next time, I pick up the Olympics, the World Cup, and the 250. And I said, you know what, Pam? I said, this is a good thing.
In 2016, Congress created America 250, a bipartisan commission that began working on what was supposed to be an apolitical celebration.
We were focused on, well, what does America 250 mean? What are we going to do? How are we going to recognize the greatness of our country?
But once Trump took office in January 2025, he took over the programming.
We have created a new public-private partnership. It's called Freedom 250.
Democratic Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, who has served on the America 250 campaign for 7 years, says Trump upended their plans.
Freedom 250 is his vanity project. And the things that he's trying to implement, they're all about him. And it is because, unfortunately, the president has an insatiable ego. And so he has denigrated the essence of the celebration. Well, it doesn't seem to be well attended. It just looks very sedate to me.
While the 250th may not be what the commission originally planned, it's also not turning out how Trump expected either. After most of the original performers dropped out due to politics, a concert featuring Vanilla Ice was also canceled due to bad weather. Then, amid a heat wave in Washington, several of the indoor stalls at the fair had to shutter their doors to guests when their AC stopped working. You'll notice here there are several booths for states: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. Potato chips are good, with each item representing what their state brings to the nation, but there are other states that actually haven't shown up at all. Now, some have cited finances as a reason for not being here, but others, including Pennsylvania, where the state's governor said he just simply thought it was too political for his state to get involved, and blamed the Trump-aligned nonprofit that has been battling it out with other groups to organize all the events leading up to July 4th. Now, President Trump told people that it would be the greatest show on earth at the National Mall on July 4th. He told his supporters, your favorite president will be speaking, so please show up. What they will find here on these grounds are not just the different stalls representing each state in the nation, or at least those that decided to participate, but also this replica of the arch that President Trump once built here in Washington. It's been part of that major renovation project that he's done, not just to the White House, but also to the larger D.C. area, attempting to rename the Kennedy Center after himself and installing this arch, though I'm not sure exactly this is the replica that the president had in mind.
You want a frozen one?
Now, amid reports that some states were declining to participate in the Great American State Fair, or that it was sparsely populated, President Trump seemed to defend the entire organization of it ahead of July 4th. He wrote on Truth Social and said, "Do you think people appreciate what a fantastic job we did in building and operating the Great American State Fair at the National Mall? Packed with happy people and everybody loving it." The president told people to ask if Obama or Joe Biden could have done this, and he said in all caps, quote, "The answer is no." Now, Trump is planning a grand finale air show and enough fireworks to break a Guinness World Record. But it remains to be seen if the heat, tightened security measures, and fireworks that won't start before 10:30 p.m. will produce the turnout the president is hoping for.
On July 4th, it's going to be approximately 107 degrees out. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech just to show that I can do anything.